Hey tribe, how are you? I felt inspired to talk about our taking responsibility and how the really in truth this idea of bridging or forging a new reality or a new kind of way of being on this planet that of course would create a new kind of system for humanity that the kind of paradoxical sense of pioneering that is to do with our individual responsibility. Of course, the guidebook talks about that true transformation and true lasting change from within our own lives comes from us being the full responsible creators that we are. Any area of our lives which we've disowned, any power that we've disowned, in essence, we've given it away. And you can think that if the power is perceived as outside of us, of course, we keep looping into these blaming, attacking cultures. And the subtlety of how we blame, attacked, separate, judge, again, it's subtle. It's requires our deepening awareness and this great sense of humility of the unknown, of this sort of vast void that we are all a part of and we're all connected to. And yet, so long as we're sort of in this way addicted and attached to our own thought projection or our own past life experience, we remain bound to those energies, we remain bound to those densities, as it were. And and that you can understand and you can see that that density isn't necessarily assisting us in awakening, and yet from a divine perspective it is our own suffering often that squeezes us through a transformational experience. It is our own perpetual stress and suffering that ultimately kind of pushes us over the edge, as it were. Probably every single person who talks about this whole transformation game would describe a similar process of enough, of it is within our own consciousness that we're like, enough of this. I don't want to do it like this anymore. But it's like a for real, deep, profound commitment that obviously produces radical change in one's life. And I mean, in a few different ways I look at it is like if you are the responsible creator, you have more pulling power, right? It's like no different than in a hierarchical work environment. That if we're doing a good job, if we're responsible and we're on top of our job, then often we can move up the ladder. We can move up the corporate ladder, which breeds reward, right? Typically there's incentive. So what's the incentive to all this taking responsibility, to owning and transforming your emotions, to clearing your karmic backlog, to what's the reward? The reward is a beautiful, miraculous, abundant life. The reward is feeling good about who you are regardless of what other people think. The reward is money and people and things manifesting in your reality without even having to try, because you are the creator. And so when you reverse the world's thinking and you become the responsible rather than the irresponsible blaming and attacking everything around you, you then are the magnet for the creation that you are desiring to create, or that you're putting out there, that you're offloading into that kind of universal energy grid. And that is kind of coming back and rebounding back to you. But it's the disparity of closing the gap that we often get doubtful, or we get afraid, and so we run back to our old world, or we run back to certain people. Most of us do it, but we all done it. We hold on to a fantasy, we hold on to a projection, as it were. And ultimately I would say all of those, whether it's something to do with our own body, whether it's injury or illness, or someone who's playing games with us, or whatever it is, whether it's perceived as outside or our own bodies, it's still on some level our own overlay, our own projection. And so um, when we can really kind of own that, it helps us. It amplifies our pulling power. That's, I guess, the word I'm trying to say, is that the more self belief that we're holding, then that self belief can purge what is not that. And so that's the idea of we're always recycling our experiences, and we're having a reflection of residue, you could say. So we're always seeing a kind of different shade of a past projection, especially when we're doing the conscious work of transforming, of elevating ourselves, of lifting ourselves up, that we just do want to look at it from every single angle. And when it doesn't have to be part of our lives, it just won't be a part of our lives anymore. We can effectively acknowledge, I've totally dissolved that density, I've totally let go or transformed, or reworked it from within from within self. And then that is the liberation. That's the liberation, the reward that we seek once we feel into that liberation. If we do it with one area of our lives, the likelihood is that we can start to apply it and do it with every single area of our lives. So when we effectively transform our bodies, for example, we don't necessarily assume, at the beginning of the journey, like, I just want to be a size whatever, I just want to feel a certain way. Fine. That's what it was for me. And it didn't, I didn't necessarily quite get that every area of my life, the career, the relationships, the body, that everything was going to change out of a pure, rather vain and selfish desire to look a certain way. And yet, from my perspective now, it's like, if we're not in the form that we desire to put out there, it's really hard to just exude that clarity and that joy. If there's areas that there's lack of love in the form of the physical vessel, then those are still the areas of density that we're working through. So you can honestly see that as a reflection of people's state of being, people's state of consciousness. And then the level of the depth of vibrational shift that we can endure for one lifetime is really how much we're closing that gap between our desired sense of self and our desired manifestation versus the present moment and where we are. And I would say that's often why we teach ourselves teachings of humility, or teachings of, because there's so much paradoxical, um, just shades and elements to doing this work, where um yes, we want to have this uber beautiful self-belief, like we want to believe in ourselves so much, but it's like this sort of compassionate, humble, there's a humility. And I can honestly say, over the last few years, a lot of the lessons I've been teaching myself are about arrogance. It's about ego. It's about power. It's about, because I feel it and I see it within myself, and I see it reflected back to me in other as well. And it's like thinking we know what's right for each other, or thinking someone else is going to make my dreams come true, or thinking blah blah blah, projecting stuff, even whilst doing all this conscious work, still having rather kind of out of control situations happen, and then owning it. And like, and then that becomes like, every experience is a beautiful lesson and challenge. And like, um yeah, yeah, life becomes just so monumental. and and that's the reward, really. So taking responsibility means we no longer separate, blame, and attack others for our feelings. We have to own and integrate and absorb and work with all of that as an energy field. But that is ultimately what brings us the desired manifestations. Through owning, we amplify our pulling power. So feel free to get in touch, you guys. I hope that was really useful to you. It was so special and amazing and awesome to have a full weekend off. Yesterday, I didn't even look at my phone at all, and it's been really nice shift. So I want to continue to encourage you guys also to unplug. And if you have a desire to actually come off Facebook, do not worry, because we have the whole like email. That's why we made the shift to YouTube, so that I can now deliver. We have quite a few tribe members who are not on social media, and they just get about 4 or 5 days a week, they get a little note and one of these videos delivered to their inbox. So if some of you are also feeling, because I've planted the seed, but Team Love is really preparing to come off of social media and to streamline that work so that we ourselves become more efficient, but also, break free from that energy stream a little bit. There's been some intuitive insights and just a deeper recognition that that's not, not exactly where we were wanting to position ourselves in that stream of work, that kind of endless conveyor belt of social media posting, which, yeah, we're just sitting with it and working with it. But I wanted to put that out there to you guys, because some of you, there's still like some messaging and different things going on. And I need you to know that it's not me necessarily like looking and reading at all of this stuff behind the scenes, because I think that's been a thing for a while, as far as yeah. Anywho, you guys, it's a beautiful Monday morning, and I'm still working on my silent scream draft, as is all of Team Love. And but I've missed you guys. I really miss the tribe stuff when I unplug. But I think that's the point of unplugging, is when things can maybe start to feel almost like, what's happening? And then like the unplug is just like back to grounded human reality of just like playful relaxation, watching The Simpsons and stuff like that, of just that family comfort kind of feeling. So it's been really nice to sink into that and then come back on a Monday morning like, yay, work day. I got to show up and do stuff for people. Yay. So I just wanted to thank you guys so much for being there and having the courage to step into your fearlessness and to share the journey with others, because apparently that's a pretty courageous thing, but I gotta say I wouldn't have it any other way. I love you all, and I look forward to speaking to you real soon. Feel free to comment, feel free to share your insights, your experience, and anything other that you feel would be useful for you. And of course, you can always book a one-to-one session with me. Okay. Love you guys. Have a great day. Peace out.